Honorable members of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, today my country, Belarus, is in turmoil and crisis. Peaceful protesters are being illegally detained, imprisoned, and beaten. The authorities use the tactic of intimidation, fear, and physical threat. At least 6 people were killed. Dozens are missing. This is taking place in the middle of Europe. The current crisis ensued in the wake of the election of August 9. By the opinion of the majority of observers, the electoral process was deeply flawed. Some opponents of Mr. Lukashenko, including my own husband, were jailed on trumped-up charges. Others had to flee under the fear of prosecution. The election itself was marked with thousands of violations, while the most respected observers of the electoral process, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, were not invited to observe the election. The official results of the election were falsified and rejected by the Belarusian people and the majority of the international community. The European leaders jointly declared the official election results fraudulent. The parties of the European Parliament in a joint statement said that they do not recognize the results of the Belarusian election and do not recognize Mr. Lukashenko as the elected president of Belarus. Let me use the opportunity to express the gratitude of Belarusian people for the support to the European Parliament and all its parties. In the wake of the election, millions of Belarusians took to the streets all over the country in peaceful protest against Mr. Lukashenko. The demonstrations are unprecedented in size and scope in the history of Belarus. Despite the peaceful nature of the protests, the authorities attempted a violent crackdown on the people. This, however, hasn't deterred our people and only strengthened the resolve of the nation. Last Sunday saw the largest public demonstrations in the history of Belarus, where more than 200,000 people took to the streets of the capital, Minsk. Belarus has woken up. We are not the opposition anymore. We are the majority now. The peaceful revolution is taking place. The revolution in Belarus is not a geopolitical revolution. It is neither a pro-Russian nor anti-Russian revolution. It is neither an anti-European Union nor pro-European Union revolution. It is a democratic revolution. It is the striving of the nation to decide for itself. It is the striving of the people to freely and fairly elect its leaders and decide its destiny. The revolution in Belarus is not a violent revolution. It is a peaceful striving of the people for liberty and freedom, for self-determination and basic dignity. I call on all the countries of the world to respect the fundamental right of the nation for self-determination. I call on all the countries of the world to respect the sovereignty of Belarus. I call on all the countries of the world to respect the territorial integrity of Belarus. The demand of Belarusians is simple: a free and fair election. This is the demand of the protesters on the streets. This is the slogan of the people on strike in numerous factories across the country. This is the wish of the whole nation. Belarus is a part of Europe, culturally, historically, and geographically. We are committed to the norms of international law and want to take a rightful place among other nations in Europe. Europe's experience in guaranteeing rule of law, human rights, independent judiciary, and free media is of primary importance to the new, reborn Belarus. In the past 2 weeks, the Belarusians showed that they will not relent and they will not give up. The will of the people will not be broken. It is our aim to achieve the fair and free election peacefully by way of dialogue. Hereby, I declare our readiness for negotiations with the authorities. We are ready to nominate the negotiators. We are willing to consider the mediation of international organizations in to facilitate the dialogue. In order to facilitate the transitional period, I have initiated a National Coordination Council comprised of all layers of Belarusian civic society and all sides of the political spectrum. Unfortunately, the authorities responded with threats and intimidation against the members of council, including Nobel Prize winner Svetlana Alexievich. The intimidation won't work. We will not relent. We demand to respect our basic rights. We demand all political prisoners freed. We demand to stop violence and intimidation by the authorities. Belarusian people deserve better. Europe deserves better. Thank you.
Ms. Tsikhanouskaya, on behalf of our committee, let me thank you for your message. This is a message which will reach an audience far beyond Belarus. We wish you all strength and persistence in the struggle for democracy and respect on human rights and freedoms in your country. Rest assured that we will continue to follow the developments closely and offer the support that your nation needs during this challenging time. Once again, thank you for taking your time and delivering this statement to the members of the Foreign Affairs